I was wrong about Heated Rivalry. It's the gay hockey show you've probably been seeing a lot about, but don't expect much hockey. Really, it's more like, do you want a side of hockey with your gay romance? And here's the kicker. It might actually save us from the romance recession I think we've been experiencing for years. Roll the clip.
Has Heated Rivalry made everybody insane? Yeah?
You guys talking about Heated Rivalry?
Shout out to Heated Rivalry.
Heated Rivalry.
Heated Rivalry.
Heated Rivalry.
Heated Rivalry is the kind of show that stumbled into mainstream. It was filmed fast with a small budget, and yet the impact is hitting the internet like a Mack truck.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps.
This isn't just a hit, it's a phenomenon, which is impressive considering I knew I'd probably like it before starting it, and now it's my entire personality. Edits, fan art, merch, interviews are hitting everyone's timelines, and the girls' gays and theys are locked in, and the numbers are really showing it. We live in a media landscape that is built for speed. We binge something, we move on and completely forget about it. So why has Heated Rivalry made such a splash with audiences? And are we watching the start of a romance renaissance? If you managed to click on this video without having the background to Heated Rivalry, let me give you a brief overview of the plot and their story together. The story takes place from 2009 to 2017. It's a long burn. Ilya Rozanov is from Russia and Shane Hollander is from Canada, and they meet when they're 17 playing for their home countries at the World Junior Championship for hockey. For reference, at this time, gay marriage isn't legal in America yet. A year later, after they meet, Ilya is drafted first to Boston, and Shane is drafted second to Montreal, which is Boston's biggest rival. Before either of them can step onto the ice as professional hockey players, though, the league decides to lean into a comparison between the two of them, since they are drafted first and second, and they had played up against each other previously, so they have a manufactured rivalry before either of them can even organically have one. Before the season can begin, though, Ilya forces proximity during a commercial shoot that Shane was already a part of by joining it, and they end up hooking up after and continue to do so when they play each other throughout the season, and this goes on for many years. They act like it's just sex and never really acknowledge what their relationship is, but by episode 2 of 6, they end up obviously starting to have feelings, and both are in denial. No one else in the league is out, and especially for Ilya, being exposed would mean not only losing his career, but his ability to go back home to Russia, so they definitely keep it a secret. Eventually, this avoidance, though, catches up with them. Ilya pushes to have a little bit more in their relationship, and it sends Shane spiraling, straight into a relationship with a famous actress, which inevitably falls apart when Shane finally admits to himself that he's gay. When they're reunited at the All-Star game, though, things definitely shift. They go to Shane's cottage after the season ends, which gives them time to be themselves and have honesty between the two of them for the first time ever. They say "I love you" for the first time at the cottage, and Shane is actually forced to come out to his parents because they catch Ilya and Shane at the cottage together. This plot sets the stage for an amazing show, but the execution is what really makes it linger. Romance, especially movies and TV, has felt stale for years. Somewhere along the way, Hollywood decided that sincerity was outdated and big feelings were cringy. Once known for its happily ever afters and joy, romance has now been stripped down to bare bones and managed to lose the spark that made people love it to begin with. Romance at the end of the day is fiction. The fantasy is the whole point.
This is a cow farm. You're gonna find cows outside.
Heated Rivalry isn't just successful right now because it's good, and it is good, but it's also because it's arrived at a moment when audiences have been starving for authenticity, longing, and love that isn't embarrassed to exist. For the last decade, love stories have been apologetic. They've been ironic or self-aware or just deliberately miserable, as if wanting joy was unthinkable. Heated Rivalry has every element I want in a romance. It's sincere in a way that I didn't even really know existed. It's beautifully told, it's masterfully crafted, and the more I see and hear about it, the more I wonder how I ever enjoyed romance before this happened. There is tension without heartbreak. There is love without exceptions. I think Katya from his podcast with Trixie, The Bald and the Beautiful, said it best.
It's a show about two gay guys falling in love. There's no fucking AIDS. There's no fucking grape. There's no fucking death. There's no fucking, tragedy. The only tragedy is, not being able
Then
to
what are
come
we
out.
watching for?
We're watching for
Gay
romance. Yes.
Katya is right. There isn't enough gay love to begin with in visual media, but the ones that come to mind when you do think of it all end in tragedy. Why is this the only options? What is wrong with beautiful, joyful loves that makes you feel hopeful? The world is bleak, and TV has been reflecting that, and I, for one, am pretty sick of it. Give me love and drama, give me yearning and passion, and stop playing it safe with recycled garbage. Growing up, my favorite movie was You've Got Mail, which is full of yearning and tons of romance. I want to feel like that again. I want to be obsessed. I want to rewatch something over and over. I want to have more close personal friends like Ilya Rozanov and Shane Hollander transported to me through my screen. I'm making this video not only to explore the romance renaissance that I think is on our horizon, but it's also here to defend Heated Rivalry from some criticism that I heard on New Year's Eve from a friend when talking about the show. Heated Rivalry is just softcore porn. I think you missed the entire point of the show. Sure, many people came for the spice, especially because that's what a lot of the media talks about when surrounding the show. But they stayed for the love story. Authenticity seems like currency nowadays. Especially when we're being sold something every second we're alive, having a new story that isn't a cash grab trying to sell me action figures and popcorn buckets is refreshing. Media and people don't have to be relatable to be enjoyable, but I would argue they need to feel authentic. Most of Heated Rivalry is completely unattainable for the average person. Personally, I am not a jacked 6-foot-tall millionaire hockey star, but if you are, welcome to the channel. Even so, a large portion of the audience is straight women, so if it's not relatability that's keeping them watching, it has to be something else. And I think it's authenticity. The show feels authentic because the world is authentic. The social pressure these men are facing is real, and the stakes of the relationship have real consequences. Ilya, if outed, would no longer be able to go home to Russia. He would never be allowed to visit his mother's grave again. On top of that, if the league decided they didn't want a gay player, which historically sports leagues have been really cool about, he would no longer be employed and would most likely be deported back to the country where he is, again, no longer safe. Shane, growing up as one of the few kids playing hockey who wasn't white, probably learned that the best way to be respected was to be perfect. He is very in control of every aspect of his life. His body, his image, his career, his sexuality just becomes another thing he has to manage. He isn't afraid his parents won't love him, he's afraid of disappointing them. Hockey is also Shane's entire life. He eats, sleeps, and lives the game, and losing it because of his sexuality is his biggest fear. Shane and Ilya are in positions where they have no other choice but to hide their love affair. Honesty is too dangerous, so they revert back to bad communication and hide the depths of their feelings. Plus, they're men, so what do I expect? Even when they first start, being ambiguous about their relationship and not being exclusive is safer for them. It allows them to play the parts that society has given them. Acknowledging their feelings, or even acknowledging the options for their feelings, has consequences that neither of them are ready for. Their rivalry and image are all crafted outside of who they are as people. Both of these men exist in a hyper-masculine sport with no one who's openly gay. So their inability to have each other fully is substituted with sex. Their avoidance of acknowledging what they are is a version of control. So yes, there is sex in the show, but it's there for a purpose. What I really heard when my friend said that Heated Rivalry is just porn is that there's gay sex in the show. Television has never had a problem with sex. It has a problem with who's having it. It feels like that thing you hear your boomer uncle say when he says he doesn't mind gay people. How thoughtful. He just doesn't want to see it. There is no shortage of nudity and sex scenes in television today. Hell, I saw Lucius Malfoy's full frontal on The White Lotus. HBO is known for nudity. Sometimes it feels like they throw a scene in there just as a rite of passage. Rarely do stories use sex as a plot point or a way to further develop characters the way Heated Rivalry does. Here, sex isn't a spectacle or for shock. It's how these characters communicate before they know how to be honest. Not only with each other, but with themselves. Why is it when straight people have sex in media, we don't bat an eye, but you don't see anything but a little bit of man butt in Heated Rivalry, and now it's porn? If less than 10% of the show is sex, then why is everyone sticking around for the other 90%? Or better yet, why do the highest rated episodes of the entire series have the least amount of sex in them? And that's not an estimate. I checked. This is data that I personally collected. The most sex comes with the first episodes. These numbers trend down as the show goes on, but it's a reflection of their relationship and not just an accident. The number of scenes stays nearly the same, but the sex is no longer the thing holding the couple together anymore. As the relationship changes, so does their interactions on screen. Along with the change in sex on screen, there's also a tonal and editing shift that occurs. Their scenes get longer in general, and the time between when we actually see them talking and interaction slows down. The first 2 episodes cover a 5-year span, which is incredibly fast. The last 2 takes place within only a couple of months. The beginning of the show is intense, filled with sex and really fast-paced. But as the show goes on, it softens on the edges. It becomes less about sex and slows down as they learn to love each other. It transforms with their relationship. This isn't a show about sex. It's a show that uses sex as language. They use it as a tool for character development, tension, and it's the only honesty these 2 men feel safe to have. And when people call it porn, what they're really revealing is not a problem with the storytelling. but a discomfort with who's allowed to feel desire on screen. Today, it seems like movie execs only care about one thing: reliability. They want a baked-in audience of people who are going to love the thing they're creating without having to do anything new. But the truth of the matter is, no one wants the reheated nachos of yesteryear. Everyone, and I mean everyone, is over watching a worse version of a perfect movie they saw in their childhood after it's been manhandled by corporate executives, giving us cheesy one-liners and cameos.
Kalel, no!
The best shows on TV are doing something completely different, and it's clear that creativity is winning in the landscape. But there's still sadly a lot of slop floating around. Heated Rivalry had no intention of dominating the way it is right now. With an industry obsessed with predictability, no one saw it coming. This show is not just a moment, but it's making a true cultural impact. The reason I'm here today reading this stupid script and talking about my close personal friends Ilya Rozanoff and Shane Hollander is because somehow this show has lit a spark in me. I feel brave and creative. I feel the need for everyone to hear my frankly unenlightening take on this show. I am desperate to hear and consume more of it, and it's the exact kind of impact that art should have on the people who consume it. This show isn't sparking the usual watch and forget mindset. The fans of the show are not casually watching, they're dying for more. The books that this show is based on are sold out in North America. Fan fiction about the couple has exploded, and now I can't listen to Megan Thee Stallion without thinking about them. If you know, you know. Heated Rivalry has found a way to burrow under the skin of fandom past, present, and future, and has left fans scrounging for scraps and begging for similar stories to get their hands on while they wait for more seasons. It feels like a tidal wave of love and support, not only for the TV show, but anything even close to it. Previously underrated shows and movies are seeing spikes, old fanfiction writers are dusting off their laptops for the first time in years, and the yearning for this show could feed a family of 4 for 40 fucking fortnights. This show is not only reigniting fandom, but it proves that romance as a genre needs to change, and this show is doing all the groundwork. Longing is one of the key emotional elements that drives romance, and we need more of it. People, or maybe just Hollywood, turned their back on the traditional rom-com a while ago, but I think we're making our voices clear when we say we want you to take risks and switch it up without completely losing the essence of what makes the genre great. I have no doubt that a lot of the heel turn when it comes to rom-coms and romance as a whole comes from misogyny. Over 80% of the romance readers are women, and the LGBTQ+ subgenre within romance has continued to rapidly grow over the past few years. Personally, I know from my own experience how much romance is looked down on. After one too many honest answers and weird looks after being asked what I read last, I've just started lying to people when I talk to them in person about my reading habits. Heated Rivalry isn't your traditional rom-com though. It's gay, and it has more spice, and it's political and talking about real-life issues by nature of it being gay and having a main character that isn't white. This is more than any rom-com I watched growing up dealt with, but it knows how to handle itself and it trusts the viewers to keep up. Heated Rivalry feels like a handmade project. It feels intimate and personal in a way that is authentic to the source material and authentic to what many people go through when it comes to the queer experience. But more than anything, the show has shown me, and many others, that we haven't lost our attention spans or our ability to care deeply. Our media has just lost the ability to keep it, and has been producing shallow replicas of what we once held dear. There was nothing that could have pulled me away from Shane and Ilya, whether I was watching it for the first time or the 7th. I don't think I've ever rewatched a show back-to-back until this show dropped, and I only watched it for the first time 3 weeks ago. In an era increasingly lonely post-pandemic, dating apps creating digital space in our most intimate relationships, in an increasingly strange time to be an adult, we don't want to watch movies and shows that make us feel like love is doomed. With life and romance already being hard enough, no one wants to watch the characters they love be miserable too. Culture is a cycle, and I know this, and in many ways I hope it's swinging back towards happiness when it comes to romance. I want to feel the happily ever after again. People are watching Heated Rivalry in clubs and bars, they're having rewatch parties with their friends, and the show is growing organically through internet edits and word of mouth. Not to mention Connor Story and Hudson Williams, the two main actors, are appearing in late-night shows, award shows, and are now getting signed to A-list level talent agencies. It feels like the actors and the show as a whole are exponentially increasing in popularity, and it is insane to watch in real time. I've never been a part of a fandom like this, and I have to say it feels electric. But the overnight success of this show isn't an accident. It's a response to finally getting what we've all been yearning for. I feel like I'm in a romance with romance. More than anything, I hope that this TV show continues to send shockwaves through the entertainment industry. I want it to be a wake-up call that CGI, bad lighting, and terrible writing is not what we're looking for. Give us the romance renaissance we deserve, and please, for the love of God, Do not just copy and paste Heated Rivalry into different fonts. That's not what we're looking for. What we're craving isn't grit and realism. It's sincerity, especially when everything we watch today feels more like an ad than art. The acting and writing in the show is phenomenal. Jacob Tierney, the creator, knew what he was doing. And although Connor and Hudson's chemistry cannot possibly be overhyped or overstated, it is insane. Their personal acting choices are my favorite part of the show. Hudson seems to capture an awkwardness to Shane that is palpable through the screen. He also does all the subtle emotions of the character that tell me what he's thinking and feeling without the inner monologue that the book has. Connor's accent, mannerisms, and demeanor fully tricked me into thinking that this man was Russian before I saw interviews of him. I feel like he's possessed by Ilya Rozanov when on the screen. Their vision and choices is what made the sex not feel performative. The emotions don't feel manufactured, and the people making the show trusted the truth of the characters and trusted the audience enough to not dilute it. It's here where the heart of the show resides. Casting unknown actors in this was probably a must based on the budget, but I also think it lends itself so well to the authenticity and chemistry that so much romance is missing today. It's the reason we're all drawn to these fresh faces and wondering, where the hell have you been, Loka? I want to end this video with what it truly is, which is a thank you. None of you will ever see this, but I still feel moved enough to say it. Jacob Tierney, and to anyone who worked on Heated Rivalry, you made something that feels rare. You made a love story that isn't embarrassed to be exactly what it is, and you let it linger. You didn't rush the payoff or apologize for joy. Heated Rivalry inspired me to make this video and this entire channel, something I've dreamed of for the last 10 years, and never really had the courage or the fuel that I needed to do it, so thank you. To Connor Story and Hudson Williams, thank you for giving us characters that feel lived in, vulnerable, real. Your performances were bright and bold and subtle in all the ways that matter. I feel like I was a fly on the wall getting to witness Ilya and Shane through both of you. I can't wait to see the next season, and I cannot wait to see what you all do with your overnight success. Thank you so much for making magic with 2 freaks, 2 pennies, and 1 giant screen. I'm your average viewer. Thanks for watching.